If stories like this move you, I'd like to ask something from you right at the start. Please subscribe, like, and share. Your support means more than you realize. It helps us keep creating stories that dive into the deepest parts of love, betrayal, heartbreak, and healing. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't just a random tale, it's raw, it's real, and it carries a lesson many of us learn the hardest way. This story began with a simple sound, the vibration of a phone left on the kitchen counter. I reached for it, thinking it was just another ordinary message. But the words on that screen, they shattered everything I thought I knew about love, about trust, about the woman I once believed was my forever. And all it took was one message to end the life I thought I was living. The morning started like any other. The soft hum of the fridge filled the silence, and the first rays of sunlight slipped through the blinds. I cradled my coffee mug in both hands, breathing in the warmth, trying to convince myself today would be normal. Then, my phone lit up. Maya's name appeared on the screen, glowing against the dim kitchen light. For a second, I smiled out of habit. That name used to mean comfort. It used to mean home. But as I opened the message, my chest tightened. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I sold the ring. I had to. I froze. The mug trembled in my grip, hot liquid sloshing over the rim. My breath hitched as if the words had reached through the screen and knocked the air right out of me. The ring. Not just any ring. It wasn't some piece of jewelry we bought at a store on a whim. It was the engagement ring I had given her under a sky full of stars. It was the same ring my mother once wore, a family heirloom passed down with love and memory etched into its delicate gold band. A sapphire shimmered at its center, the very stone that seemed to glow when I slipped it on Maya's finger. That ring wasn't just a symbol, it was a promise, a piece of my family's history, a piece of me, and she had sold it, just like that. I stared at the message, reading it again and again, searching for something more, some explanation hidden between the lines. But there was nothing, just cold final words. My hand shook as I typed back, "Why?" "For what?" No reply, only silence. And in that silence, I felt the first crack in the foundation of the life I thought I had. I set the phone down on the counter, but the words clung to me like a thorn buried deep beneath the skin. She sold the ring. She had to, for what? The question gnawed at me as the hours passed, pulling me into memories I had shoved aside. Little moments that once seemed harmless, but now felt like warnings I should have never ignored. Maya hadn't always been this way. I remembered when we first started dating, how her laugh would echo across the park as we lay on the grass, planning a future neither of us could stop dreaming about. She used to call me every night before bed, whispering little secrets about her day, as if I were the only person in the world who truly understood her. Back then, her eyes held warmth. Back then, her touch felt like home. But lately, something had changed. Her phone always face down on the table. The quick, almost panicked way, she'd swipe notifications away before I could glance at the screen. The late nights at work that didn't quite add up. I'd sit at the dinner table with 2 plates, her food growing cold, convincing myself she really was swamped with projects. When she finally walked in, hours later, her excuses came too easily, like lines rehearsed before a mirror. And then there were the weekend trips. "Just me and the girls," she'd said, kissing me quickly before rushing out with her suitcase. She'd come back days later with stories that never seemed to match, details that shifted like sand, slipping through fingers. I remembered one night in particular. She returned from one of those trips, tossing her suitcase into the closet. I reached for her hand, the one that once proudly wore my mother's sapphire ring. But it wasn't there. "It felt too tight," she'd said casually, slipping past me into the bathroom. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe every word she told me, because that's what love does. It makes you blind to the cracks forming right in front of you. I even defended her when my best friend hinted something was off. "Maya loves you, man," I said firmly. "She'd never do anything to hurt me, but now I wasn't so sure, because that text wasn't just about a ring. It was about secrets she didn't want to share. It was about lies I had refused to see, and as I stood there in my kitchen, heart pounding against my ribs, one thought consumed me. If she could sell a piece of my family, what else was she capable of? By noon, I couldn't pretend to focus anymore. I sat at my desk at work, staring at spreadsheets that blurred into meaningless shapes. The only thing I saw was her message. I sold the ring. I had to. Finally, I grabbed my coat and walked out, the cold air outside biting at my skin as if the world itself wanted to wake me up from the daze I was in. My car felt smaller than usual, suffocating almost as I gripped the steering wheel. I knew exactly where I was headed, the jeweler. It was the same little shop where I had once taken the ring for appraisal, back when I was planning our proposal. I remembered walking in then, nerves buzzing through me, excitement spilling out of my chest. Today, my steps felt heavy, like I was dragging chains behind me. The bell above the door jingled as I pushed it open. The scent of polished wood and metal hit me, familiar yet hollow now. Mr. Collins, the jeweler, looked up from behind the counter. His face softened into a smile that quickly faded when he saw mine. "Daniel," he said slowly. "It's been a while." I swallowed hard. Did someone come in recently? With a sapphire ring? Gold band?" His brow furrowed. He pulled a ledger closer, flipping through it. Seconds stretched into lifetimes until he finally nodded. "Yes, about 2 weeks ago. A woman. She sold it in a hurry, paid in cash. Didn't say much." My stomach twisted. 2 weeks ago. That was the exact weekend Maya told me she was going on a trip with her sister. She even kissed my cheek on her way out, suitcase in hand, eyes bright with a lie I had believed without hesitation. Did she say why? I asked, though part of me already knew the answer. Mr. Collins shook his head gently. "No, just that she needed the money quickly." I thanked him, my voice hollow, and stumbled back into the cold. The air stung my face as I sat in my car, gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned white. The truth pressed down harder with every breath. She lied. But about what exactly? I pulled out my phone and scrolled through our texts, my thumb trembling. There it was, just a week ago. Heading out with Jenna. Don't wait up, Jenna, her closest friend from college. If anyone knew the truth, it would be her. My heart raced as I hit call. The phone rang twice before a familiar, cheerful voice answered. "Daniel! Hey, what's up?" I didn't waste time. "Was Maya with you last weekend?" A pause, too long, too heavy. "What? No. I haven't seen Maya in months." The world tilted. My grip on the phone slipped, and the silence between us roared louder than anything else. She hadn't been with Jenna. She hadn't been with her sister. Then who and where? Lashu. That night, the house felt colder than usual. Shadows stretched across the living room walls, and every creak of the floorboards made my chest tighten. I sat on the couch in silence, staring at the door, waiting. At exactly 10 p.m., the lock clicked. Maya stepped inside, cheeks flushed from the night air. She dropped her bag by the door with a practiced ease, like nothing was wrong. "Hey," she said lightly, almost too cheerfully. "You're still up?" I didn't move. I didn't smile. My eyes stayed fixed on her. Her expression faltered. "What's wrong?" I stood slowly, the weight of the day pressing into every movement. "Why did you sell the ring, Maya?" Her body stiffened just for a moment. Then she forced a smile. "Daniel, it's not a big deal. I just needed some cash for a project." "A project?" My voice rose sharp and cutting. "You sold my mother's ring, our engagement ring, for a project? What kind of project is worth more than our promise?" She glanced away, her hands fidgeting with the strap of her purse. "It's personal. I didn't want to worry you. Don't lie to me," I snapped. My heart hammered in my chest, anger and grief mixing until I could barely tell the difference. "Where were you last weekend?" "Don't say Jenna. I already spoke to her." Her eyes widened. Color drained from her face. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again, but no words came. "Maya," I pressed, my voice shaking. "Tell me the truth." She swallowed hard, tears brimming in her eyes. "Daniel, please, the truth!" I demanded, my voice breaking. Silence. Then her lips trembled and the first tear slid down her cheek. "Fine," she whispered. "Okay, I wasn't with Jenna. I wasn't with my sister. Then where?" My voice cracked under the weight of the answer I already feared. Her shoulders shook as she finally blurted it out, her voice shattering. "I went to Paris." The room spun. "Paris? With—" She choked, her throat tight. "With Eric." The name hit me like a punch to the gut. Eric, her ex. My knees threatened to give out. "You sold the ring," I whispered, barely able to breathe. "You sold my mother's ring. To go on a trip with him?" Tears streamed down her face as she reached for me. "Daniel, listen, it wasn't what you think. We're not together. I needed to clear my head. I made a mistake." I stepped back, her touch burning like fire. "A mistake? You call that a mistake? Selling our promise, lying to my face, running back to him. That's not a mistake, Maya. That's a choice." Her sobs filled the room, echoing against the walls that once held our laughter. "Please, Daniel. I didn't mean for you to find out this way. I didn't mean to hurt you, but the damage was already done." I stared at her, the woman I had loved, the woman I thought I knew, and all I saw was a stranger standing where my wife used to be. "You didn't just sell a ring," I said quietly, my voice raw. "You sold our trust. You sold us." The silence that followed was heavier than any scream, and in that silence I knew nothing would ever be the same again. The night after her confession stretched into eternity. I sat on the edge of the couch, staring at the floor while Maya sobbed across from me. Her voice cracked as she repeated the same words over and over. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me." It meant nothing, but her apologies bounced off the walls, hollow, unable to fill the void she had carved inside me. I couldn't even look at her. Every time I tried, all I saw was the image of her boarding a plane with Eric. My mother's sapphire ring traded for a seat next to a man she once swore was her past. Eventually I stood. My legs felt like they were made of stone, but I forced them to carry me upstairs. I grabbed a bag, stuffed it with clothes, and walked back down. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice breaking. "I can't stay here," I whispered. Her eyes widened, panic flooding them. She rushed toward me, clutching my arm. "Daniel, please, don't do this. I made a mistake, but I still love you. We can fix this." I pulled away, my throat tight. "Love doesn't survive on lies, Maya, and what you did, it wasn't just a mistake. You chose him. You chose yourself. And you left me with nothing." Her knees buckled, and she sank to the floor, sobbing. "Please, don't leave me. I'll do anything, but I couldn't stay. The house no longer felt like home. The memories that once made me smile now felt poisoned, twisted. I walked out the door with nothing but my bag and the crushing weight of betrayal pressing down on me. The cold night air hit my face as I stepped into my car, the silence inside louder than her screams echoing from the doorway. For days, I crashed on my friend Ethan's couch, staring at the ceiling every night, replaying every moment of our marriage. The laughter, the promises, the quiet mornings we once shared, all of it now tainted by the truth. Maya texted me constantly, paragraphs of apologies, promises that it was over with Eric, pleas for another chance, but each message felt emptier than the last. Because forgiveness isn't just about words, it's about trust. And trust once broken doesn't come back. Not when the person you loved traded it away for a plane ticket. One night, I held my phone in my hand, her messages lighting up the screen. For a moment, I thought about replying, about giving her the chance she begged for. But then I remembered the ring, the way it gleamed on her finger when she said yes, the way it was supposed to symbolize forever, and I remembered how easily she gave it away. That was the moment I knew. Our story was over. Weeks later, I found myself standing on a bridge overlooking the river, the city lights shimmering against the water. The wind was sharp, cutting across my face, but for the first time in a long time, I felt awake. I thought about the ring, about the way it caught the light when I first slipped it onto Maya's finger, about how it had survived generations in my family, only to be sold for a fleeting trip with a ghost from her past. But as I stared at the water below, I realized something. The ring was gone. The marriage was gone. The trust was shattered, yet I was still here, breathing, standing, living. Betrayal may have broken me, but it also forced me to see the truth. Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who teach us the hardest lessons. I didn't hate her anymore. I pitied her for chasing memories while I learned to let go, and in that moment, I made myself a promise. She sold the ring, but she would never sell my strength. If this story touched you, remember, you're not alone. Subscribe, share, and let's remind each other, heartbreak doesn't end us. It shapes us.